So my name is Ibrahim Adefila. I actually happen to be the center head for Aptech, Oshobo Center, and I'm also the founder of the African Next Generation Leadership Center. In my current role, I work as an IT security expert, where I manage the IT security operations with respect to business continuity, risk management, and infrastructure security, including the cloud as well. Today, I am honored to be here with you to actually explore the very interesting area of security, particularly today on cybersecurity, looking at the ISO certification. I've got a bachelor's degree in information technology. I have a master's in business administration and also another master's in data science. I've also got my own certifications as well, which includes one of the gold standard certification from ISO Squared, that's the CISSP. And I'm currently a PhD student at Edinburgh Napier University in the UK. Let's move on into the slides. I'll make it very brief. But maybe before I go into discussing what I have on my screen, I believe you can all see my screen. So for those actually joining us online, if you actually need at any time to speak, you could actually use the raise hand icon. Of course, you could also react to any discussion that we're having here. So with that, we'll be able to enable you to talk to us and be able to speak with the audience on premise. And if you have questions, there's a Q&A section there. There's also the chat where you can drop messages and they will respond to those questions accordingly. And if you want to speak, feel free to raise your hand and we'll allow you to do so. So going into the ISC squared, trying to understand what it means. It actually stands for the International Information System Security Certification Consortium. So you have the IISSCC. So and then they actually abbreviate that into the ISC squared. It's one of the world's largest certification provider, particularly in the area of security. They've got over 600,000 members. So if you happen to also complete your certifications or register as a member, as a student member, or a candidate planning to take an exam, you also join that number. So the entity has been in place for a couple of decades now. They started in 1989. It's based in the United States, and they have various flavors of certifications. So the one we're actually talking about today, the reason why we're all here today, it's the certified in cybersecurity. And they have other certifications that's focused on different areas. For instance, if you look at the bottom middle one, that looks into the GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. There are also certifications that looks into the network security, certifications that looks into the software security, certifications that actually focus on security operations, as well as cybersecurity leadership. So that's the CISSP. And for the CISSP as well, there are different flavors. There are those focused on the healthcare and different aspects of our livelihood. So that's the short notes on ISC square, so that you know what the entity stands for and what they provide. So moving on. So why the ISC Squared decided to come up with this initiative where we actually able to provide you as a candidate today, access to free training, be able to take an examination and become certified in cybersecurity. There's actually a global, shortage of cybersecurity experts. At the moment, there are about 4.7 million persons, in that field practicing as cybersecurity experts, and there's still a shortage of 3.4 million, roles for us to grab. And these are actually in different countries. US alone, for instance, has over 700,000 positions that they struggle to fill. They do not have people to take those roles. So if you happen to complete your certification, of course, this is an entry-level certification, you could actually build up and then be able to participate, be able to, contribute to this particular field and take some of those roles. Looking at the statistics here, it says like about 46%, demand is there for those with cloud security skills. And those actually that have the cyber threat intelligence skills, there is actually an increase of 37% in that area. If you've got the skill or build yourself to acquire those skills, and those who can actually handle malware analysis also stand a bigger chance in getting into the industry, with a 34% rise in the demand for those skills. And there's also a list of job titles there for you to see. So the top ones, the cybersecurity analysts, ranked very high. We are actually in the world of IoT devices talking to each other, and definitely you want to be protecting those devices and protecting the users of those devices. So software developer, it's also ranking very high in that job title. Of course, that's a different field entirely. But then, as a cybersecurity expert, you definitely contribute in the process of developing a software. I believe during your course of the program, we will discuss in depth about that. There's actually the concept of secure design, so that even in the process of designing your software, you make sure that it's actually secured by default. So all of those concepts are part of the things you're going to learn in this entry-level course. Penetration and vulnerability testers, they are also part of those that will be enjoying this big cake that we've got, because we do have a shortage and there's actually a need to close those gaps as soon as possible. So the list goes on, and this is actually a very recent statistics. This is actually January 2023. It means the positions are still there for you to grab. And all you need to do is to get the right skills and then be able to participate. One thing about the initiative is that I need to underscore very seriously is the fact that the entity, the ISC Square, considers diversity as an important part and as an integral part of this initiative. Diversity in the sense, in various areas, diversity in the gender, diversity in age, diversity in the geographical location, and diversity even in your background, even in your neurological position or stance, diversity. So those with any neurological challenges, or let's say if one has an ADHD, for instance, you're also welcome in this industry. Even secondary school students can be part of this. University graduates can be part of this. Professionals who are actually being there for decades with all of the experience are also welcome. So it has to be very diverse, and we count on you, as first sets of cohorts to also spread the news. We expect to have more people join the program as it moves on. At the moment, I think we have an uptake of about 50. I'm not sure how many people actually are at the center right now, but we have a capacity for up to 200 according to ISS Square for the first cohort. So we expect that from today, we will you as agents of change will be able to introduce this product and this service. It's free, it's complimentary, and you can actually, let everyone know about it and participate. Because of course there is a gap and there's a need for us to fill that gap as soon as possible. If you have question, again, you could raise up your hand using the raise hand icon, or you could drop a chat as well. And for those in-house, let us know. Of course, we will be able to address those questions. That's about the ISS Square and the initiatives. I will just talk a little about the NGO that's actually spearheading this for you today. So like I mentioned earlier on, I'm actually the founder of this NGO, and the focus of this NGO is actually to create capacity. We want to actually drive an economy with innovation and technology in different spheres, looking at agriculture, looking at governance as well, where we can actually apply e-governance, or what we call the electronic government. We're looking at areas of healthcare and academia as well. So our major focus in terms of objectives covers cybersecurity and critical infrastructure protection. We're looking at tech-driven agriculture research. We're looking at adult education. So that also falls into the sphere of the diversity that I actually started with. Building capacity, of course, is part of what we're doing today, and empowering and developing skills so that we as youths can actually be empowered to channel the right course for our future and the next generation. Some of the projects and programs that we currently working on is the ISS Square. That's the one you're participating in. And our pledge for ISC Square, maybe I need to go back very briefly to the previous screen. The ISC Square provides you with a free recorded training, which you can actually attend. I understand that a few of us had challenges, while navigating through the ISC Square portal. You don't know what to do next and all of that. So what I've done is that I've actually created a 10 steps instruction on what to do, how to get access to the recorded training, how to get access to the free examination, the flashcards, which is actually like a summary of what you need to understand before you take the exams. And all of the materials that's been provided by ISS Square for free. I've been able to give you links and step-by-step process, including the agenda for our programs. It's also part of what you have on that list. So I'll be dropping a link right now. So it's actually the same link that you had used before. So it takes you to a page where you can just put in your name and you put in your name and your details, and you'll be able to get those steps sent to you by email. So the website is aptech.ng/1, that's number 1 NCC. So it redirects you to a page where you're going to fill in your details, and once you put in the email address, you get the 10 steps as a welcome pack. For those who have actually completed this before, you don't have to do that again. If you already have it in your email, it's fine. You don't have to redo. So let me move on the slide. So this is what the IMCC initiative covers. Free training, which is actually provided by ISACA. It's a recorded training. The free examination, as well as the flashcard. In our case, as an NGO, we actually supporting this initiative with this ongoing in-person and online training. So this is actually been sponsored by the African Next Generation Leadership Center. And we have Aptech as a training partner to train you and get you prepared for this certification. As part of this program, we're also going to be providing you with practice tests and a question bank, which you will get access to, I think, on the November 20th. All of this information is available in the email. Once you complete this form, which is actually on that link that I've just provided, you'll be able to get all of the details when the practice test will be provided and all of that. We also will be giving transportation grants to the top 20 participants, particularly those that actually do well in the practice test. So we will be looking at the top 20 amongst those that actually took the test, and we will be able to sponsor, because that shows that those with high score in the practice test are likely going to pass the exam. And of course, we will put our money where our mouth is, right? That's the slogan. So there's also an ongoing initiative that we also partner with. This is actually from NITDA. NITDA is the National Information Technology Development Agency. It's an agency under the Federal Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy. So they've got the 3 Million Technical Talent Initiative. So this initiative is actually by the new minister to develop capacity in Nigeria to have 3 million technical talents, so that we could actually export talents to the world. Talents in different areas. It includes software engineering, security is also very much part of it, even UI, UX, and the likes. So I'll also be dropping that link. So for those who have not registered or who do not know about this initiative, I urge you all to go to the website. I'm going to put that in the chat right now. To go to the website and get yourself registered. Sorry, I'm just trying to capture the gov.ng. So that's also has been provided in the chat. It's 3mtt.nitda.gov.ng. Please go to the page and apply, and you might actually be selected to participate. So you apply as a fellow, and you are actually going to be participating in that particular program. It's also going to be free. It's an initiative to develop capacity and be able to build the Nigerian economy through technology and innovation. As part of our efforts at the center, like Leadership Center, we're also looking at setting up a technology and innovation hub in Oshogo. So this is an ongoing project, and we'll definitely let you know as things evolved, developed in regards to this particular project. Then let's move on to Aptech. Right now we have a few persons in the center listening to me as I speak. So Aptech is actually a global training institute. It started in the 80s, and it's in over 40 countries. And it actually provides training in the area of software engineering, cybersecurity, multimedia, animation, and networking and the likes. So in Oshogo, Aptech is now over 2 years in Oshogo since we started the operations. And of course, we have the experience of over 30 decades, coming from our parents' company, which is actually a global entity. So in terms of the curriculum, they are very matured and they are being updated as technology evolves. So you can be sure that taking any course at Aptech, you're going to be getting the best. We have two types of programs or two areas that you might want to consider, perhaps after your CC or perhaps even while preparing for your CC certification. We have a program which is called the career program. Our career program, it's called, with respect to security and networking, it's called the Aptech Certified Network Specialist. And what it provides you with the skills with respect to having a hands-on skill with hardware, networking, cybersecurity, ability to work with the operating systems, including Windows and Linux, and be able to, come up with an architecture for the cloud using Azure cloud. And then, of course, you get to learn about ethical hacking, right? So that you could actually protect the world, right, against any security threats. And during this particular program, you will be trained and be equipped with skills that will be sufficient enough for you to take various certifications. You could take a Computer A plus certification, N plus, that's networking plus, the CCNA, either the routing or the security. You will also be able to take the Red Hat Certified System Administrator certification, the Cisco Certified the Cyber Ops, that's cybersecurity and operations. Associate certification is also some of the certifications exams that you can take while going through that particular program without any additional material. So if you follow CCNP as well and the CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker certifications, is also part of it. And the good thing about our program, the career program, is that when it's an 18 months program, and when you complete this 18 months program, you are able to transfer the credits for a degree in the UK, for 1 year top-up program in the UK, for those who have not gotten a degree already, or if you have someone that's looking at getting a degree. So the university is actually, we partner with universities in the UK, such as Middlesex University, University of Bolton, Stirling, University of Plymouth, Portsmouth. I believe my colleague there will be able to give those in the center, flyers of the ACNS, as well as other programs that we have. We have a similar program, a career program for those who are interested in software engineering. So that's called the Advanced Diploma in Software Engineering. It's a wide range of tools and technologies, which includes machine learning, data science, and all of that. So there are different flavors. So, and we also have a career program also focused on multimedia, where you can do 3D animations, develop very interactive web applications and things like that. So, and all of these career programs, it's 18 months in Nigeria at our center, and 1 year in the UK and get a bachelor's degree. Something that I did not mention in my intro, I actually started my career as well at Aptech Ibadan Center as a trainer. And before I took up the training job, I was also a student, taking the ADSE program. So in my 1 year into the program, I got appointed as a trainer, and that's some 15 years ago, actually, 15, 16 years ago. And since then, Aptech has been in my DNA, and that's the reason why we felt it's a good idea to have something like that in Osun State, and that's why we have a center in Oshogbo at the moment. Besides the career program, there are also short courses for those who do not, perhaps you already have a degree, perhaps not interested in getting another one, or you just want something very short to kickstart your career. of course, you can look into some of those short courses that we offer. Healthcare Arcane, Windows Server Administration, Computer A and Networking Plus, and the likes. Even CCNA as well. Some of those options that are available. So you could reach out to us. There's going to be a contact information at the end of the slides where you can reach out to get to know more in terms of the price and everything. And the foundation also is able to provide some level of scholarship to you. I think up to about 30% reduction in the tuition fee for those who actually desire or needs it. So please reach out to us, and if you're in the center, you can just pick up one of the flyers to learn more. So the reason why we are here today, yeah, of course, I've bored you with a lot of stories, but now this is the real deal. So you're here today to, skill up and prepare for the entry-level certification, which is called the Certified in Cybersecurity from ISC Square. This certification actually gives you the foundational knowledge and the skills to be able to take up junior level roles in the cyberspace. So it's the audience, the targeted audience, like I said, it's very diverse. And we hope that you also as change agents will also make it more diverse by introducing the program to others, friends, relatives, and neighbors around. And it could cover even college students, those in secondary school, perhaps the higher secondary school from SS1 to SS3 could participate. And recent graduates or those in the universities are also could be part of it. And even if you're changing your career, either from being an accountant, something like myself, because I do also have the ACCA certification as an accountant before I decided to settle with security and IT. So you might also want to transition from one career to the other. Perhaps it's actually a place to start from. It's not going to cost so much. The trainings are actually offered for free. The certifications are offered for free. And even for IT professionals, maybe you're in the area of networking and you want to know more about cybersecurity, or in the area of software engineering and you want to be able to produce softwares that are actually secure, then you might want to consider the CC. I'm not sure if you all are aware, on a yearly basis, there are millions of data breaches happening globally on a yearly basis. Companies are being hacked and they lose money, they lose reputation. If you are very much aware of the Uber Act last year, was actually perfected or implemented by an 18-year-old. Sometimes we call them script kiddies. The 18-year-old was able to get access to Uber's system. And how it does happen is, of course, there's what we call the dark web. The dark web is actually different from your normal Facebook and LinkedIn and your Instagram. It's an hidden web. So, and there are people who actually operate in the dark web. For instance, you cannot use your normal Chrome or Microsoft Edge browser to access the dark web. You need to use the Tor browser. So the Tor browser, it's a concept of an onion routing solution where we have people joining. So yeah, so it's actually a solution where you get anonymized. No one knows who is who on that particular platform. So it's very hidden. So I think he got a first set of credentials from there, and then the company already has. Uber has the MFA implemented. All right. So despite the fact that there's an MFA, that's the multi-factor authentication. Those are some of the concepts you're going to learn in this program. So the multi-factor, some of you might already be using multi-factor authentication on some of the platforms or applications that you're using. So that's where they send you a token Even your bank app maybe has that, where you have to use different options, about minimum of two options to authenticate yourself. It could be what you know or who you are, or what you have and stuff like that. So you get into the details in the course of this program. So they have an MFA, which is a token device-based solution. And what actually happened is that the kid, okay, it's no longer a kid, it's an 18-year-old, was able to frustrate, he got the credentials online, of course, from the dark web, right? Maybe your own credentials also is actually on the dark web. Maybe you need to learn more about the dark web and see if you're safe, or if your credentials or your credit cards are already on the dark web. So this particular guy got the credentials of one of the staffs on the dark web. He manages to frustrate the guy. But the pop-up keeps coming on his phone, like allow, your token-based applications keeps when you try to log in and it asks you to allow. So this guy keeps getting the allow on his phone alerts that he needs to accept this particular request. He was ignoring it at first, but then at some point he got frustrated. Then he clicked on allow eventually. And that's how the guy, the 18-year-old, was able to get into the Uber network. And getting into the Uber network, fortunately for him, he stumbled on a script written by some of the administrators in that organization that actually has the admin username and password. And that's how he got access to the PAM. The PAM is the Privileged Access Management System, where we save all the passwords securely in a vault. And from there, he was able to then, get access to all of the systems, including Slack and all other, and the web, their cloud solution, the Azure, the AWS, everything. Because with the PAM, of course, you have access to everything. It authenticates you to all of the resources. And that's how the guy, was able to, bring Uber on Neil. So this happens to different organizations at different times. And as change agents, our responsibility is actually to protect organizations from losing money, resources. And it could even be very serious. In the US, there is the Colonial Pipeline Act, where due to the act, they could not get petrol. They hacked the system that actually, some more or less like a SCADA system. So, and the transmission of, the gas through the pipeline couldn't happen. And a particular city was kept into darkness as a result because there was no flow. We're actually in the world of, IoT devices communicating with each other where you don't want to have human intervention. So this hack can be right there. They can actually even cost lives and, of course, reputation damage to organizations and money and waste of time. In this particular course, it's of 5 domains. You will first, of course, learn the basics in terms of the terminologies, the concepts. This is the area where you learn what we call the CIA. So the CIA is not the one in the US that you know, but this is actually a triad in the cybersecurity world. So which talks about the confidentiality, the integrity and availability of systems. So our instructor is here, Mr. Abdullah, will dive deeper into all of these concepts and many other concepts, that you're going to learn on the first domain. And the first domain will start today, of course, very shortly, after my very short, of course, it's now becoming long, introduction session. And then you move on to the second session, which looks into the area of business continuity. For those who are into the accounting world, it's more like saying going concern. So your organization actually, in this case, has an unforeseen circumstance or situation. How do you continue to operate? For instance, in the case of Uber, they had an incident last year. What are the plans in place to be able to continue operation even in the face of the adversity or any hack or security compromise and things like that. So you must have a plan in place, and you must be able to invoke that plan when any of these things happen. So that's what you're going to be covering in domain 2. You're going to learn concepts like MTD, maximum tolerable downtime. You're going to learn something like the RPO, RTO, recovery time objectives, point objectives, even how to manage incidences when they happen. For instance, if you're looking at incident management, immediately you identify the incidents, you have to do what you have to contain it. You don't want it to spread because it's like a virus. It's a network, right? So if it affects one person, just like the Ebola or the COVID virus, right? If it affects one person, and the person's exposed to the next person, of course they get infected and it can spread. So what we do is that whenever we actually get an incident, identify an incident, we try to isolate it immediately. So when you do the isolation, of course, you then have to do follow that up, with a cleanup. You do your restoration, you do all of the things that you need to do to get then you restore the services back. And when you're done with the restoration of the services, you also have to document all of those processes and come up with a lesson learned at the end of it. So these are some of the concepts and things that you're going to learn in the domain 2. Domain 3 will look into the access control concepts. Why do administrators have more than the user? I mean, what is the idea? Who can write? Who can read? So is it a discretionary access process, or is it based on your role, which could be role based, or is it based on a mandatory rule? So those are some of the concepts that you're going to learn in the access control concept. The networking security, of course, it's very straightforward. It tells you how to protect your network, what secure protocols to use, what protocols are not secure, how do you harden your configuration to be secure and to protect your organization from any form of hack or compromise or security compromise. So that's also going to be covered in domain 4. And domain 5 looks at the operations in terms of security management. You learn about what are policies, what are procedures, and the likes. I think, yeah, we have about 6 minutes left for me. I'll wrap it up very quickly so that we can have, yeah, I think that's the end of my presentation. I thank you all for being part of this session. It's really a pleasure to have you. If you have any question for me, please, you can raise your hand and we'll be able to unmute you to speak if you're outside. And if you're actually in the campus, of course, we can definitely unmute the system there for you to talk to the audience. Thank you all. Nice to have you. Mr. Abdullah, Mr. Abdullah is actually going to be the instructor for this program. He also has CC himself, so he understands the terrain very well. He works, okay, yeah. So he works as a SOC analyst as well, I believe. He works with entities even in the US, as far as in the US remotely. So you've got a lot to learn from him. So you can also learn the tricks on how to get jobs remotely, even from Nigeria. And all of that. So, Mr. Abdullah, please, you have the floor. But I think we have a question. So we'll unmute Ade.2 and we get to hear what the question. All right. Mr. Ade.2, you can ask the question. You can unmute yourself and ask the question.
What is that name? Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, thank you for that wonderful exposition, sir.
Thank you. Dave.
Yeah, my question is that with this certification, this ISC2 certification, as in, is it possible for one to? I understand that after this certification, we have to move ahead, as in we have to grow in the field of cybersecurity. I understand that quite right. But what I'm trying, my concern is that after getting the certification, because from the program the Aptech sent to us, I can see that it takes about 6 weeks for us to learn this part. So my question is that is it sufficient for us to get at least an entry-level role in any organization with this certification?
Of course, it is. It's very sufficient for you to use the certification to get in an entry level. Yeah, that's very correct.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you indeed. Do you have any other question? So Mr. Adedosun actually asked if the certified in cybersecurity certification can actually be used to get entry level role, and indeed the answer is yes. You can actually use the certification to gain entry level role in Nigeria, and of course working remotely as well. But then you might have to do a bit of other things. I mean, you must have the basic knowledge of operating system, because the certification doesn't dive deep into how to create a group policy, for instance, or how to all of those things that you see in the Windows server or Windows operating system. But it gives you all of the ideas that you need to know, and just a little read ups here and there, you pick up those critical things. And most of the time, when you see any job opportunity that you're interested in, you can just look at the requirements or what they do need, and then you can just skill up very quickly on that. But this gives you all of the basic concepts, all of the basic knowledge and understanding to be able to perform that role, the entry level role, efficiently. Thank you. We also have the chat for those that have questions. I think I have just 2 minutes left, and Mr. Abdullah will be able to take it up from here. 2 minutes. If you have any question, please. Yeah, on the screen also you have the. Okay, yeah. Okay, so now Mr. Abdullah is taking over. You have the details. I hope you might have captured it. So the Aptech website is aptech.ng. So you can go there, look into some of the courses that we've got. You can reach out to us on the numbers, and please feel free, if you're in Osogbo, to come around at the center. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Abdullah.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. So I will be your instructor for the rest of the course. And my name is Abdullah Okoyemi, right? So I'm a cybersecurity analyst, and also I've worked as a network engineer in Lagos. So I've worked for a couple of companies, right? But currently I'm working for a cryptocurrency company located in the US. So basically I'm working from home, and that's why I have the opportunity to, be taking this course. So basically, the course is going to last for 6 weeks, and we have like different 5 modules in this course. And normally, if you want to actually take the course, it should last off for like 4 months. Like if you want to go deep, but we have to adjust the time and also make sure we cover the whole thing in that 6 weeks. So the first domain, on the first module, right, we need to understand the concept of information assurance. Actually, that was what he was trying to say the other time when he was mentioning CI triad. So basically, it was trying to actually mention information assurance. Then the domain 2 will be to understand the risk management process. And domain 3 will be to understand security control, some controls that should be in place for your organization to be secure as a whole. Then we have governance elements. Then the last, okay, the domain 4 should be code of ethics, and the last one will be governance elements. So, hold on. So, without any further ado, let's just jump into the sorry for the delay. So, let's so sorry for that, right? So at least we should have an understanding of why we are here. We are here to actually take a course in cybersecurity. So, like, I believe we should have undergo some research on what is cybersecurity and what it actually stands for. So, uh, you know, I'm very smart to actually ask you questions, but I want to try as much as possible to make it, interactive for everybody. So, can anybody just, like, in a brief, term, the meaning of cybersecurity? Because the reason why I'm actually asking this question was that, there was an interview that I went for some times ago, and that interview, they didn't ask anything about cybersecurity. They were just asking about their company. What do we do? Where are all our branches, where are they located, and stuff like that. So if you are going to anywhere at all, we should try to, know everything about that organization before even going at all. So I'm just trying to bring that concept into what we are doing here today. So I believe everybody here should at least have like an hint about what is cybersecurity. Anybody?
As a layman, I am in cybersecurity. I think it has to do with online security and subject matter. Maybe it has to do with artificial security of application.
Okay.
So on any cloud server, as a layman,
Yeah, that's fine. So anyway, anyone, you want to try? Okay. 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 You want to?
So basically, I would say cybersecurity has to do with online security of information, be it that of personal businesses or organization or government.
Okay, we actually all tried, but basically in a layman definition, so it's just the action or actions of protecting sensitive information or sensitive system from unauthorized users or access. Because if something you want to protect doesn't worth protecting, I don't think you need to actually, bother yourself. So it has to be sensitive for you to actually put security in place. Yes. Yes, they can. I think so. They can. So can anybody just try to listen to us? Yes, the link is on. Sorry, can you guys hear me from outside our organization? Mr.
Yes, I
Ibrahim,
can
can you?
hear.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
I
can.
can hear you very well.
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you.
So basically, that's cybersecurity, right? So the CIA triad is actually an element of cybersecurity. So you can't do without cybersecurity. You can't do without these three, elements. They are like what makes security security. So this information assurance, they are what we want to actually talk about. Because basically we can just say, cybersecurity is the act of protecting the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of our system or information. So those are the information assurance. If any of this is missing, our security is not complete. So let's actually, talk about these three triads. So the first one is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So the combination of these three is what we know as CIA triad or triad. So they are the terms that are commonly used to define security anywhere. So you must integrate these three, terms into your definition when you are defining cybersecurity, because this is what we want to look in security. This is what we want to defend, right? So let's actually, take them one after the other. So let's take confidentiality. Yeah, right. It says that confidentiality relates to, permitting unauthorized access to information, while at the same time protecting information from improper disclosure, right? So, simply put, right? So confidentiality is making sure that your information or data that you are sharing or that you are withholding is only accessible to the people that should have access to that information. If Mr. Dari should not have access to Mr. Ridwan property, access should not be given to, Mr. Dari. Immediately, third party, right, has access to another party information. And if that information is sensitive, so that is the confidentiality of that information has been broken. And if that happens, that means the security has been collapsed. So basically, confidentiality is making sure that information is only given to authorized users, and unauthorized users should not have access to such information. Is that clear? Sir, am I clear? It's clear, right? So basically, that's confidentiality. At least we normally hear about confidential, my confidential information and stuff like that. That means only me should have access, or all the people that are authorized to that information, and nobody else. So if any third party have access to that information, that means the confidentiality of that, information has been broken. So the integrity, right? It says yes that integrity is the property of information whereby it is recorded, used, and maintained in a way that ensures its completeness, accuracy, and internal consistency. We will define it in layman language, but that's four, words. We should take note: completeness, accuracy, internal consistency, and usefulness. We should take note of that. But simply put, integrity is basically making sure that our information has not in any way modified or tampered with. We should make sure that information has not been, compromised, modified, or tampered with at all. So if I'm, sending a data of 25 MBK or MB, right? So you should see a data of 25 MB, or immediately you are seeing a data of 24 MB. That means maybe during the, form of transmission, someone in between, has sniffed that information, and the person has actually modified an information. So in cybersecurity, there is something we call man in the middle. So man in the middle, we just, stand in between two people having a conversation, having a WhatsApp chat. Me and it's always end-to-end conversation, right? So, sorry, end-to-end encryption, right? So, you thinking that, okay, that's true, it's end-to-end, encrypted. But meanwhile, someone is somewhere, sniffing that information, stealing that sensitive information from you and editing it. So if Mr. A is sending a data to Mr. B, an attacker will just sit in the middle, sniffing that information. What I mean by sniffing is the person is taking that information and edit it. Maybe you are sending your account details to someone. So someone in between the conversation, right? We just, alter the account details and send his own account, details to Mr. B. So Mr. B will think the information is coming from Mr. A, that, well, that means the account is correct. You will just continue and send the money. Meanwhile, the money is not coming to Mr. B, the money is coming to Mr. C, the hacker, that has sniffed the information in between two of them. So integrity is to make sure that the information has not in any way been altered or modified. That's clear, right? Please, if you don't understand, you can ask me anything. It's clear. So we should move on. So availability. So availability means that systems and data are accessible at the time that users need them. I think this is just normal English, right? So basically what this means is that a user that should have access to his information should, anytime that he wants to access that information, should be given access to that information. It's not like I want to log into my Access Bank, app, and it's saying an error or you cannot log in. So anytime a user wants to log in to his application, he should be able at all the time, right, have access to that information. That's availability. So now let's deep dive into confidentiality. That's just like layman definition of these three terms. You understand these three terms, right? So let's do something more. So now this guy is saying confidentiality is difficult to achieve when many system users are guests or customer. So let's cite an example of Access Bank again. We all know that Access Bank, at least they have millions of users, right? And there is no way they will know that, okay, this user has been compromised or has not been compromised. A user will just interact with his application and log into Access Bank domain to perform his daily activities, maybe to withdraw anything. But there is no way that Access Bank is going to know that, okay, this person that is logging into the application is not the owner. You get? So if we are talking about 2-3 people or staffs in an organization, it's very easy, because we are 10 now, right? So if this guy is living in Ibadan and I'm seeing a log that someone is logging in the US, you can easily tell that this guy is in the office now. How come this guy is logging from the US? But what if they don't know? For example, Access Bank, they don't know maybe their user is in Ibadan or Ogun or London or anything. So there is no way they can actually maintain the confidentiality. But basically, there is a way, right? There is a way, but we actually get there. So basically, confidentiality is difficult to achieve when many users, system users are guests or customers. There are many to actually, to take track of. And it is not known if they are accessing the system from a compromised machine or a vulnerable mobile application, that can make the confidentiality of that information, crumble. So the security professional obligation is to regulate access to information and system in order to protect the data that needs protection while permitting access to authorized individual alone. So there are a lot of ways that we can actually control what I just said, right? Using some tools, some things need to be in place, we still get there. I don't want us to actually jump anything. So there is something we call PII. Basically, it's personally identifiable information. So this PII is unique to everybody or every customer of Access Bank. My PII is unique to me. It will only be used to actually identify me. So my name is unique. For example, if you want to, create a Google Gmail, right? And you used, assist@gmail.com, and someone is already using assist@gmail.com, it will just throw an error that this thing has been, there is a user for it. So that means you can't use it. So that means the identity is actually unique to that person. It's person PII. Your BVN is your PII. Your NIN is your PII. Your name is your PII. Anything that is unique to you is your PII. And basically, it should be secured. It should be secured. So, I think maybe we read the news early this year. Twitter was hacked. You heard it, right? Yeah, Twitter was hacked, and they were able to actually compromise people PII details. So let's imagine that it's not Twitter that they hacked, maybe one small organization like that. So a lot can happen to them. It can lead to defacement, or they can even, just close down, because there are a lot of legal implications to an attacker hijacking your system. If an attacker hijacks your system, there is a standard or a legal, organization that will be like, that means the security of this organization is not secure, and you have to pay. So then Twitter paid a lot of money for customers. I don't know, maybe you receive your own share, but they paid a lot of money for customer and for legal, a lot, millions of naira, because the PII of people were compromised. So basically, the PII of any customer as an Access Bank, my PII should be secured and safe wherever you keep it, maybe in your server, or I don't want to know. Make sure it is safe. So if anything happens to my PII, I can sue you guys. So basically, that's what the guy is trying to say here. So there is PHI as well, which is protected health information. This actually deals with health. If you go to an hospital now and they diagnose you and they be like, you have an headache, they will just put it in one, if they have system, right? They will put it on their system with your name that you have an headache. So now let's imagine a celebrity, maybe Davido or someone, has, HIV, and he went to an hospital and they said, okay, Davido, you have an HIV, but we will not disclose this information to anybody. So now an issue now occurred in that organization. They were able to hijack or hack that organization, and they saw Davido that has, or any celebrity, or any celebrity that has HIV, right? So basically, those people that actually hack such hospital, we just DM Davido or any celebrity that, see, we have your information. Is either you send us money or we, disclose this information to everybody. So basically, the legal issue is going to actually apply to that hospital, and the Davido itself is going to sue that hospital. That how come they were able to get, my PHI? Because this is my health information, it should be secured. So basically, that's PHI. So it's an information regarding an individual health status and classifiers or sensitive information. That's how it's classified as sensitive information, and it should be secured. So another useful definition is sensitivity. If you don't want to use sensitive, well, it's still the same thing. Sensitivity, which is a measure of the importance assigned to information by its owner, or denoting its need for protection. So information like PHI should be so, be in a secured server or a secure location that even if they hack you, they will not be able to get that information. There are some, a lot of things that you can put in place, like, encrypting such information, on transit, or when the information is in your organization before sending it out to anybody, or masking that information. So that if your organization, they won't be able to actually see that person's sensitive information. So sensitive information is information, So sensitive information is information that, if improperly disclosed, like I said, if the confidentiality is broken or modified, which is the integrity, would harm an organization or such individual. So now imagine the scenario of a celebrity, knowing that someone has this information that he or she has an HIV/AIDS. It's an harm, and the person will not be balanced until the whole thing is solved. So basically, that's just CIA, the confidentiality under it. That's one element of the three. So let's jump into integrity, right? So it says that integrity measures the degree to which something is whole, complete, and information being modified or changed. It's just an English, right? So the concept of integrity applies to information or data. The information or data of the user must be in an integrity state at all times. It may be applied to system and processes for business operation, to an organization. So data integrity, right, is actually applicable to data in storage, maybe where you keep it, or probably your server, or wherever you keep that information. The information should be secure in such location in your storage before transmitting. And during processing, maybe when you are taking that information, the integrity should be in place. You must make sure that the integrity of that information is intact. And also, when you are transmitting that information, maybe you are sending that information to someone, you must make sure that during the process of transmitting that information, nobody gets hold of that information, like mine in the middle. Right? You must make sure that the information is secured. Actually, there is a practical for this that we can actually use to, check how the integrity is applicable, or maybe later in the future. So there is something called integrity count. That basically, it will take the hash of an information. So if you go to some vendors, if you want to download the application, they will say this is the SHA of this application. So they may say it's 2 kilocalories, like that. So that is saying that anytime you download this software or application, when you check the integrity of such application, we call it hash, hash value. If you check the hash value of that application, you must make sure that it's tallied with what we are seeing on our website. If anything changes, that means the integrity of that application has been broken. So don't use it. Do you get that? So basically, do you have any question? I should come again. You didn't get that. So I'm saying, for example, say you want to download the WhatsApp, right? If you go to their website, a lot of applications like that, they will have what we call hash value, HASH value for that application. Basically, that hash value is basically used to, to confirm the integrity of that application. So there will be a hash value that they will put in their website, that if you download this application, this WhatsApp, and you run the integrity of this WhatsApp, and the SHA value you got after downloading the application doesn't tally with what we have on our domain, that means that application is not legit. Maybe it has been, modified, but that's not the real application. So don't download it. or when you download it, delete it immediately until you download the one that the hash value tallies is the one we have on our domain. You get that now, right? So let's move on. So system integrity refers to maintenance of a known good configuration and expected operational function as the system processes the information. So basically, there is something we call baseline, right? So basically, when you purchase a device, you have a question. I think that the slide. We will share the slide. We will share the slide. Yeah. So if you purchase a system, right? Say you purchase a router or a switch, right? So there is something we call chain of custody, right? If by any means the chain of custody of that, yeah, chain of custody. If by any instance the chain of custody is broken or missing, we still talk about chain of custody in depth when we get there. I'm just trying to explain the system integrity, right? So, if, for example, you have an Azure software, all of us know Azure, like the cloud platform, we know Azure. So there are some security that should come with that software before using it at all. You know, when you purchase some devices, they always have default username and password. Maybe admin, or administrator, or 01234 for the username and password, you know. So those are like the baseline that comes with such application or device. So most of the time, people don't change it. Like they just leave it like that. Let's leave it now, admin. So simple. So meanwhile, all these default username and default passwords, they are on the internet. People can just go to Google and say, okay, what's the default username and password for this application, and they will see it. So that means, and there are some organizations that don't put MFA in place. That's multi-factor authentication. We still talk about it. So people will just basically log into such application using the default password, admin, and boom, they are into your network already. You get? So let's move on. That's basically system integrity. So the minimum security that must be in place, right, when you purchase an application. That's basically baseline. So availability. I don't think we need to actually spend more time here. So availability is making sure that anytime that an authorized user wants to have access to their information, they should at all the time have access to such information. That's availability. So those are the three core principles or elements of cybersecurity, CIA triad. You cannot talk about cybersecurity without talking about those three concepts. Do we have any question?
Not a question. From what I've observed so far, it seems cybersecurity is like a principle that you apply in your line of work.
Then you must apply it, yes. That's
like a principle that you apply.
It's like a control, yeah, that must be in place, yes.
Yes, that must be.
Yes.
Because I just realized that everything we're talking about, as we apply it, and I didn't know that
it's security. Okay. But now you know. So let's move on. So those are the three core concepts, the CIA triad. But there are some elements also, but they are not as necessary or compulsory, but they have to. But those CIA triads, they are the most core of cybersecurity. We can't talk about CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. CIA triad, like triangle. CIA triad. Let me show you what I mean by that. Yeah, let's go. That's it. So that's CIA triad. So let's move on. So there is authentication as well, right? So authentication is when users have stated their identity. So it is necessary to validate that they are the rightful owner of that identity. So basically, authentication is actually talking about, when you have, let's use Access Bank again, their application. Whenever you log into that interface, it will ask you for your username and your password, right? Those are your identity. Those are unique to you. You can't have two identities at the same time simultaneously. Like I'm A, you cannot see any other A in Access Bank again forever until they delete my account and they give that identity to someone else, right? So now authentication applies when you've proved your identity, right? So the process of verifying or proving the ID, which is identity, is known as authentication. Now, after you identify your username and password, right? So you want to log in. So the system will now be like, wait, are you the one? Like, yes, I'm the one. Okay, prove it to me. So that's why sometimes you will see we call it MFA. There will be like a token or a pin sent to your phone that if really you are who you claim you are, type this code, right? We call it MFA. So it's just the process of verifying your identity. We know to input your username and your password, they are correct. We know they are correct. But we want to confirm, because anybody can hijack such information or see that information anywhere and want to apply it. But they are correct. The username is correct and the password is correct. But for us to know that you are really who you claim you are, so the pin that we are going to send to your phone or the token, press it, let's say. And if you are able to actually do that, then they will permit you. But if you are not able to do that, you'll be denied. Do we get that? You get that clearly, right? So these are the common methods of authentication, the methods we use in applying authentication. It's something you know. Something you know can be your password, your PIN, you know it, right? Only you knows it, right? They are unique to you. So they are something you know, your password, your passphrase, or your paraphrase, they are something you know. And something you have, like your tokens that are given to you in the bank. If you want to do any transaction, they will just ask you to press the token, the PIN, the number you are seeing, displaying on your token, display it. Or basically, there is a smart card. It's just like, a small USB like this. You can just press it like this and it will authenticate you. So we have something you know, something you have, and something you have are your biometrics. The iris, trying to unlock an Apple with your eye, something you have. Your biometric, your fingerprint, is also something you have. So these are the ways of actually, implementing an authentication. Do we get that? So I think this is just the three they listed, but there's also somewhere you have. If, for instance, you logged into your application 10:30, right, in Oshogo, there will be no magic that will take you to China in 5 minutes. So they now see that this guy is logged in. He logged in Oshogo 5 minutes ago, and this guy is logging again in China. It can't be this guy. This guy has been compromised. Do we get that? So that's basically, somewhere you have. But these are the three that are just listed in this course. So we should focus on this three. But normally, if you are taking normal, this is an entry level, certification. If you are taking normal cybersecurity, certification, we will come across all of those. The remaining, I think they are up to 5. But this is the most important. These three: something you know, something you have, and something you have. Please let's take note. They will ask you. There's no way they will not ask you in the exam. You can't escape that. I'm sorry, let me close this. You can't escape that, right? So there are methods of authentication. That's a way we authenticate to our application, right? So one of them is single factor authentication. This is where you input your username and your password, and the application will just log you in. And the application will just basically log you in without, asking you if you are really who you are. Just press your username and your password, and you are in. That's a single factor authentication. There's also multi-factor authentication. So that multi-factor authentication is another layer to single factor authentication. Okay, you input your username and password, right? So now we will send a PIN or another form of authentication to your phone. So put that in. So the difference is the single factor, you just need to input your username and your password, and that's all. You will have access to that information. But it is easy to be compromised using a single factor authentication, because if I'm able to get hold of your username and your password, so that means I can just withdraw. If you have 100,000 in your account, I can even turn it to negative. I will still borrow money from your app. But if there is another layer of security in place, that's okay, you've insert the username and the password, press the PIN that will be sent, to your user to your phone or your token or anything like that. Basically, so that's single factor and MFA, multi-factor authentication. That's their explanation. Do we get that? So let's move on. So there are common best practice to actually implement at least 2 or 3 common methods for authentication. So no organization should tell you that you should use a single factor authentication, because that's actually vulnerable to any attack, right? Anybody can just take your username and your password and just play around with your application. So the practice, like the standard that must be in place, must be 2-factor authentication, or 3 or 4. Make sure it is multi-factor authentication and not a single factor authentication. Whenever, I don't know, maybe you want to create an, there was a time that someone from my office, they hijacked her LinkedIn account, and the first thing I asked her was, do you have MFA? She said no. I said forget it, because the person has already changed the email and the password. There's nothing we can do. So next time, if you are creating another LinkedIn account, don't worry, don't put MFA. They will still teach you lesson. So whenever you are creating an account or you are doing anything, make sure MFA is in place. Don't use single factor. Nobody will advise you to use that, because you can easily be hacked using a single factor authentication. But if you have a multiple factor, right, even if the person has all the access, there will still be something sent to you, maybe to your phone, that are you the one that want to try to actually log into this application? And you'll be like, it's not me, it's not me. Then we can, swat that attack. So these are the practice, knowledge based. We talked about it, like your password, your paraphrase. Those are knowledge based. You know them; they are unique to you. The token, we talked about the token too, and the characteristic based, like your fingerprints, your biometrics. So those are the methods. We get it, right? So I don't think we have to. We need more explanation. So let's just jump. And we have non-repudiation. Oh, I've moved it. So, what's going on? Sorry. Sorry for that. You are disconnected from here. What's going on? We are still on call. So let's try and log in. Okay, let me share my screen. Let me share. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe we should continue.
Yeah, we can see your screen here.
You can see my screen, right?
Yeah, we can.
So maybe we should just continue then. So people need to actually see from here. They can't see it from here. That's the
Maybe we can use HDMI or something. Or
said-
use the dongle.
Okay, hold on. Okay. So let's talk about non-reputation. No, we've talked about authentication, right? So let's talk about non-reputation. Okay.
I told someone that you're talking.
Mhm.
You were talking about one
MFA, yeah.
So I saw that it's token based.
It is token based.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw something.
Now it's just one of the ways that we can implement MFA.
So my question is, all those tokens that we use at
Banks, yes. Yeah.
whether hand token or something,
Yes.
is it still part of one?
No, that's multi, because you have to log into that application first using your username and password, and they will tell you that before transacting, press the pin that is showing on your token.
Yes.
So that's another factor of authentication. We get it now. So let's talk about non-reputation. So non-reputation is just a legal term that is defined as the protection against an individual falsely denying having performed a particular action. That's non-reputation. So non-reputation is, when you do something now, maybe you visit an illicit website, and your organization said, don't visit this website, and you visited that website. And on a Sunday, Monday, you just see your line manager and the HR coming to your desk and saying you visited illicit website on Friday. Like, no, I visited illicit website. How come? Do you have any proof for that? Like, what do you mean? Do we have any proof that? Don't you? Yeah, I don't. You don't? Yes, I don't. Unless you bring your proof. Like, let's see your system. And they collected the system. He has deleted everything. And he was like, sir, if not that you are my boss, I should sue you. I didn't do this. Meanwhile, he did it. But there were no any mechanism in place or a device that will say that that's true, you did it. Right? For example, if I take your signature, your bank signature, and I forge your signature, and I issue myself 2 million naira, and I forge your signature, and I take it to the bank, Access Bank. So Access Bank doesn't have any issue giving me the money because your signature is there, right? So there is no way, unless the amount I wanted to withdraw past the limit that they will need to actually contact you. Aside from that, they will give me the money because your signature is on that check. So basically, that's non-repudiation. If I see your signature on my check, so that means it's you. There is no, is this check from this guy? They don't need to doubt it because your signature is there now. So it's one way of talking about non-repudiation. You can't tell us, you cannot come to Access Bank on Monday and tell us that someone withdrew 2 million from my account. They'll be like, yes, now your signature was on the check. Like, that's not my signature. No, it's your signature. So that's an example of non-repudiation. Do we get that? Or do I have to explain it in another form? Do we get that? Please talk. If you don't get, I can. The last part, the explanation, right?
The last part of it.
So basically, let me just start from non-repudiation again. So non-repudiation is a legal term that is defined as the protection against an individual falsely denying having performed a particular action. So let me continue, then I will explain. So it provides the capability to determine whether a given individual took a particular action, such as created information, approved information, or sent or received a message. So if I send a message to you, my signature, that everybody know that this signature can only be approved by me, right? I'm the only one using that signature and nobody else. If I'm sending you that message using my signature, you shouldn't have any doubt because you know that nobody will have that signature except me. So if you go to Access Bank with my signature, they know that I'm the only one that knows that signature and nobody else. So that means basically I'm the one that issued that check. It's not forged. Even if it is forged, but the fact that that signature matches your signature is not repudiation. You are the one that performed the transaction.
I think banks will agree something.
Okay. Okay.
You know, when you want to withdraw now, even if you are doing on the account, collect your PPN and validate you. So even if somebody wants to withdraw, I believe they will collect and validate that person as well, just to log the details of that person in the system. In case there's an issue later, they will say, oh, this is the person that came to withdraw. Even in software development, this is what we do.
Yeah, there will be some, we still talk about the security part of what we are explaining. I'm just trying to explain what non-repudiation simply means. We get that, right? So that means we can proceed. Can we? So let's try to read the shine. So in today's world of e-commerce and electronic transactions, there are opportunities for impersonation. What they mean by impersonation is you claiming someone else's. I go to the bank and I said, I'm Mr. Dari. I be like, are you sure you are Mr. Dari? Then yes, I'm Mr. Dari. Or you are using someone else's email address to request for anything. You open your system and I just log into your system and I look for your maybe finance department. I just type them, send the money to this account. So if the finance team, says that message, because the person is using your email, right? The finance person will be like, well, it is our boss that sent the message. You get? Meanwhile, you are not the one. Someone somewhere has impersonated you, claiming you is the person that's trying to make that withdrawal or the transaction. Meanwhile, you are not the one. So I can use your username and your password to make a transaction. So basically, I'm impersonating you like that. You are not the one, but I'm claiming you are the one using your details. Do we get that? So basically, that's impersonation. So why security? Okay. So it is important that all participants trust online transactions, right? So non-repudiation methodologies ensure that people are held responsible for the transaction they conducted. I think we've explained that and it's clear, right? So privacy, let's move to privacy. So privacy is the right of an individual to control the distribution of information about themselves, right? So basically, let me just try to explain this in simple terms. So if you create a Facebook account and you input your username, your email, your location, everything about you, right? So the Facebook will log those information into their own server, right? So that information should not be used anywhere else, but that's not what is happening today. They are marketing your information. You will just check wristwatch in one website and you will be maybe YouTube or Twitter, and you will see that wristwatch that you check on Facebook and be like, oh, I saw this wristwatch on Facebook. How come I'm seeing the same wristwatch on Twitter or WhatsApp? That's because your privacy has been given to another organization just to use for marketing. Majorly that's what some organizations do today. They will collect your data, your information, your email, everything, and they will sell it out. They will sell it for people that want to actually market their own products. I mean, like, they have users that you can sell your product to. They will sell it for you. We sell those information. We sell them for you, and you can market your product to them. And that normally shouldn't happen, because this privacy, I should have control over it. That Facebook, don't sell my privacy to another organization. But now, forget it, they will. Even if they tell you they will not, they will. They will. Because if you are scrolling in Facebook and you just, use like 10 seconds or 15 seconds in one advert and be like, let me watch this advert. Let me finish watching this advert. So you, at the back of your mind, you just watch an advert. Meanwhile, that advert that you watched, Facebook will just go to those people and it will be like, we have a user that watched your advert for 15 seconds. That means there is a probability that the person has interest in your product. So this is what will happen. I will sell the user privacy, data to you, and you will give us money. And they'll be like, fine, now we will do that. So send the user's data. So meanwhile, that shouldn't happen normally on the normal days, but it's happening now. The privacy is not there anymore. So let's continue. While security and privacy both focus on the protection of personal and sensitive data, there is a difference between security and privacy, right? So with the increasing rate at which data is collected and digitally stored across all industries, the push for privacy legislation and compliance with existing policies steadily grows. So in today's global economy, privacy laws and regulation on privacy and data protection can impact corporation and industry. So basically, what this is saying is that there are some standards now that some organizations that's fighting it, that people's privacy, don't sell it. If you do and we catch you, you are going to pay for it. Before, there is no law like that. So they will just sell your privacy, and you'll just be seeing a lot of ads, on your mobile app or your application. So example of such, standard is European Union General Protection, Data Protection Regulation. What they do is that when you are, for example, you are dealing with European companies, maybe you are transacting with them, there are some rules and regulations that you must follow. And if you don't follow that rules, that means they won't be able to, do any transaction with you or perform any transaction with you. If you are in Nigeria and you are dealing with US, you must follow some standards, right? You must follow some US European standards that if I do this, then, if I do this, then, ban me, don't let me have access to this organization again, to have, to follow such rules, or else people will just be sending data anyhow. So basically, so that's all about that. Let's move on to. So if you have any questions, so please let's actually ask. Let me see if we can actually take anything from here. So we are done with the domain 1 of our first module. So this is domain 2 of the module. But I don't think we have time to actually, go through this module, the model, because it's already 11 o'clock, I think, and it's actually just for 2 hours class, and we are done. Basically, let me just actually tell you what the second module is, or model is all about. So risk management. So basically, risk is defined as the measure of the extent to which an entity is threatened by potential customers, circumstances, or events, if it is often expressed as a combination. So basically, what they are saying is that risk is the probability, right? Is the probability that an event is going to occur. We get that? The probability that an event is going to occur. That's a risk. It has not happened, but there is a risk attached to it that if you do this, this is going to happen to you. So there is risk, there is an incident, and there is an event, right? So the difference between them is one has happened, one has not happened, but one has given a sign that this will happen now. So basically, that's where I think we are going to stop today, and we will continue next week, Friday, by God's grace. So if there is any question or addition so far, I think I can actually borrow you 5 minutes of my time to answer that. If you don't understand anything and you want me to come again, or you have questions you want to ask, or there is some part that is not clear and you want me to explain, so I'm open to answer them. Non-repudiation. Yes, not really. Like from the definition, is to make sure that someone that you are transacting with, right, won't be able to deny that they perform that action. If your signature says ABC, that's unique to you. That's your signature, right? So if I take that signature to the bank, ABC, and there is 10 million naira to withdraw, right? And they see that ABC, and Access Bank know that only you uses that ABC, right? So you cannot go to Access Bank tomorrow and tell them that you are not the one that performed that transaction. So the process of people compromising you is not their own problem. But there is something that they've seen, right? That they've seen and be like, this is the girl. She's the one using this signature. So the ability of not denying performing a transaction is non-repudiation. You can just be like, I'm not the one that do it, why me? Do you have any evidence that I'm the one that actually do that? And like, okay, we don't have any evidence, then get the fuck out. But if there is an evidence that truly you are the one, that did it, that's no reputation. You cannot deny it. Like, this is your signature on this. You did it. That's no reputation. You cannot deny performing an action. Do we get that? Yeah. I think someone raises his hand. You can continue. Sorry. Mr. Sarabdin, I think so. Your hand is raised. Try to unmute your mic.
Hello, Mr. Abdullah.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much. Lesson so far.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I said thank you so much
Oh, yeah,
for the
you're welcome.
lesson so far.